this full talk was part of the recently concluded UAP NatCon, and it officially became the largest gathering of Filipino architects in history. So thank you so much, UAP NatCon, for making us a part of it. It was such an inspiring moment to be able to talk to your peers and hear their kind words shared to us in support of the project. So thank you so much. And thank you, Christian, the director, for allowing us to share the full talk here in this video. But, meron tayong announcement. While we were compiling all the clips for this video, we got an email, sabi, confidential. You have been selected as a finalist for the Architizer A Award. Only 5 projects in that category has been chosen worldwide. Architizer A Awards is a prestigious international award, and in our category, 5 lang tayo ang finalists and 1 is from the Philippines. So I'd like to ask you guys for your help in hitting the link below and voting for us so we can help put Filipino architecture in the global stage. Vote for us, guys, and enjoy the video.
Architects, welcome back to another exciting session where we invite you to experience a groundbreaking approach to spacious and luxurious condo living with the rise at Monterazzas. Imagine a development inspired by the serene beauty of rice terraces, emulating cascading mountains of green fields right in the heart of the city. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to Architect Patrick Lendel Go, Architect Leizle Marie Go, and Slater Young.
Woo! Alam mo kami, we're talking behind the stage and backstage. Very, very nervous kami to be amongst a lot of people. Sino po mga architects dito? Matanong lang, sino engineer dito? Wala pala akong kakampi. Sino Skyfam? Ayan! Okay, itong The Rise, ano talaga to, blood, sweat, and tears. Not just for me, but also the entire LLG team. We have some of them here also, aside from Architect Leizle and Lendel. This was yung tipong mahal na mahal mo yung project. Yung iniiyakan mo talaga to. Literal na iniiyakan. Ito yun. I'd like to thank them for their patience with me. I would be what most of you would consider a nightmare client for The Rise at Monterrazas kasi ang dami talaga naming revisions. And this is kind of like the story. I'm gonna do a very, very short talk because engineer ako. Ito sila yung architect. So I'm just gonna be a very, very small part in this. Moral support lang for LLG architects. So I'll give you a background of The Rise. So when we first started with The Rise, when they brought me into this project, sabi ko, let's not make the tired old box. I want it to be something that is an architectural landmark talaga. And I wanted to embody the Filipino style of architecture. Ito talaga yung brief na binigay ko sa kanila. Sobrang dami namin pinagdaanan to get to the point where we are right now, where we're able to sell and selling successfully. Thank you. Itong project na to. But we also, hindi lang dapat maganda. Hindi lang dapat aesthetics na parang makeup lang ang ginagawa natin sa building. It should embody a certain sense of functionality as well. Hindi lang na maganda yung building pero ang hirap sa loob kasi ang dami ng mga ikot-ikot and all of these things. So it had to make it better for the residents of The Rise as well. And we also truly wanted it to be a sustainable community. Now, there are a lot of misconceptions out there. I'm sure you've heard. We are tapping a lot of experts. I think one of our experts are here. Monique of Verde is helping us with this. We are on track to get a very, very good rating, hopefully. But yeah, so we truly are committed for this to be a very sustainable community. So one of the misconceptions of The Rise is medyo malayo siya and it's far from the city. So just to give you context, this is the Ayala Center, Cebu. Hindi lang klaro dito. It's just 15 minutes away from Ayala. So in context of Manila, it's just 15 minutes from the central business district like BGC, Makati. So ang lapit-lapit lang talaga nito. It is a residential area. Wala po tayong forest na pinuputol. We've already done the checking of the species of that area, so hindi siya issue. And it is in a residential zone, purely residential. So Cebu, if you're not familiar, 80% of it is mountain. So that's why maraming mga mountains na development sa Cebu. This was the first few revisions. That's why pag sinabi kong 300, I think it's even more. This is the location of the rice at Monterazzas. We started off with that. Again, we didn't want it to be a box. Okay, edit. Nagalit na si Leizle sa akin. And then another edit. And then, nagising lang ako one time. Sabi ko, we're already doing the Monterazzas Prime. Parang hagdan-hagdan na bahay. What if we just take that down all the way down? So, bahay, on top of a bahay, beneath a bahay, beneath a bahay, beneath a bahay. What if we did that? So I drew a very, hindi ito exactly, hindi ako magaling mag-drawing, pero very wild drawing lang na what if we did that for the structure. And sabi ko, Sel, why don't you try this out? And then, parang they were able to develop on just that vision. So ito yung beauty ng ginawa nila. So basically, high-rise project, going up siya. Diba? So ang ginawa lang natin is to push it towards the mountain. And by pushing it towards the mountain, and ito, sa LLG side na to, ginawa nila ng gap para may airflow sa mga corridor sa likod. So there's a circulation. By pushing it towards the mountain, yung rooftop of the unit here becomes the roof deck or the balcony of the unit above. And so on and so forth. And I think this is the genius of their design na ginawa nila. This is very creative. So not only are we able to make it into something different architecturally, we're also be able to make it a different type of space, a different type of living experience for the future residents of the Rise at Monterazzas. I feel like an imposter being in front of you kasi hindi ko naman to trabaho. Trabaho to nila LLG, nila Architect Patrick, Architect Lendel, Architect Leizle, Lendel Patrick kasi. Meron pa silang mga kasama dito, they're junior architects. Ayan, Sol, where's Jehan? So dinala talaga namin dito because we are really, really proud. Stand up, guys! Diba, dumaan kami sa konting issue. It was mostly pointed at me. But para sa akin, sanay na ako, I've been in that spotlight. What was truly heartbreaking for me was to actually see them nung pumunta ako sa office na nakikita ko na naiiyak sila. Why? Because their fellow architects were the ones criticizing them online. And even yung mga professors nila, nakikita nila yung post about all of this without understanding everything else that is behind the project. When we see a house, alam naman natin na the surface level is not all that we see, right? Ang daming nangyayari sa ilalim dyan. They did their homework. And to create something like this, kailangan to 3D. So, when I tell them, that's why medyo masakit sa akin, when I tell them, pwedeng iurong natin konti yung room dito. Let's move it forward a bit. You have to change the entire thing, including the inclined elevator. That's why when I said in the start of this talk, blood, sweat, and tears, totoong blood, sweat, and tears. But I feel like they really, really did a good job, and it was truly, truly worth it. So, thank you. Okay, back to my presentation. Na-segue ng saglit. So ito yung experience going inside. This is just at the lip of Monterrazas de Cebu. This is just outside the subdivision. So now, not only are they able to create a monumental landmark, pagpasok mo pa lang ang ganda na experience. And they had this brilliant idea of making it like this at night. So we're gonna actually implement everything na ginawa nila. Babawi ako sa kanila. Yung hindi natin binavalue engineer ng grabe. And ito yung an example of what it would be like to live at the Rise at Monterazzas. So this is an example of a 3-bedroom unit. Inside, we have 174 square meters of living space. That's a 3-bedroom living space. But what we are able to give by the new design is this space. This is about 150, average of 150 square meters of outdoor space, balcony space, meron kang jacuzzi, and hindi siya yung balcony lang. It's a very, very usable space. I can imagine pets running around, kids running around. Mahilig ka sa golf, so pwede kang maglagay ng mga putting greens. Mahilig ka sa mga plants, so you can be the plantito and plantita that you would like to be. So this is a very, very usable space. Just a small detail, there's a lot of details that they actually incorporated to address this issue. So hindi lang siya, okay, hagdanan siya and then move forward. What happens now when there's someone upstairs who can look down below? So very innovative yung solutions nila. They actually had this planting strip here. So that this is setback, I think mga 4 meters, 3.5, 4 meters. Sila mas alam nila, 3.5 daw. So 3.5 meters and naka-study talaga yun sa 3D nila kung ano yung line of sight so that hindi nakikita yung mga tao sa baba. So that is just one. The hallway here, if you notice that there's a hallway here, I'll be a little bit technical, so since architects tayo, this hallway is not just to provide a service access, but is also designed to ventilate the corridors behind. So to that level of detail yung paggawa nila dito. There are so many more details like this, pero baka bukas na tayo matapos. At night, this is what it would look like. This is our pool unit naman. This is 2 stories with, I think, 2.5 stories. So mayroon kang 1 story, another one there. This is about how much outdoor space? 700 square meters, I think, something crazy like that. The pool here is bigger than my own pool at my house. And this is facing the view of the city. So this would be the view that you see. So pagpasok mo ng unit, you have the infinity pool greeting you. And ginawa talaga nila that the balcony there, binaba para may infinity na edge looking into the view of the city. So that's what greets you as the experience of being a unit owner here. These are the actual views of the certain levels that you will experience. So this is the view from the lowest floor. So even at the lowest floor, meron ng view. And as you go up, you see more of the city. At night, this is what it looks like. That blue, green, red over here is a newly built CC Lex. From the top, this is what it looks like. So this is the amenity area, 3,000, 2,500, 3,000 square meters of amenity. This is the guardhouse area. So this is just outside the subdivision. This is at the very foot of the mountain. This is the amenity. So sila na talaga, Architect LLG, when it came to designing this. Very beautiful. This is a gym. So ang ginawa nila, pwede kang mag-treadmill at the edge of the water, and then you have a view pa looking towards the city. And in the future, right across, this is not the final render. They're parang, ano na daw parang level up pa daw sila. So gagawa pa sila ng strip mall right outside, and we're gonna push the boundaries as well to see where we can take it. This is going to be our future model unit. So I invite everyone that's interested to buy, please visit us. So this is our model unit. The whole area, we're going to revive it into a community that is design-centric. So ako, I'm an engineer, but I'm a frustrated architectural fan. So that's why I'm living my life through them. So this is going to be our new office for our real estate development group. Yeah, so the Rise at Monterazzas. LG Architects, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, thank you very much, Slater. Just to let you know that despite the challenges, it has been a pleasure working with you. So, good afternoon, everyone. I would like to share with you this thought. Keep calm and carry on. Now, you might be wondering why I'm sharing to you a thought on a talk like this. So, to give you a little backstory, this is the message I constantly remind myself 4 years ago at the height of COVID pandemic when the whole world literally stopped. I know everyone was affected by COVID, but I was personally affected on a very personal level. I was constantly overwhelmed by fear, by anxiety, worry for the safety of my family, and all the uncertainties of various aspects, and even down to the uncertainties of our projects. We weren't at our best leg when COVID came knocking. But you know, it is when all seems lost, when suddenly a ray of hope was offered to us. It was at that time, during our isolation with my family, because we were contacted by COVID, and we received this phone call regarding an opportunity to design a residential condo at the base of Monterazzas. And the struggles that we have faced during those times on our isolation made us realize the importance of having big, wide open spaces and to reconnect with the healing touch of nature. This became our inspiration to keep moving forward and to rise from our adversities. And this became the very first inspiration for our design concept for the Rise. Indeed, I could attest that sometimes in our worst experiences in life can bring about our best opportunities for growth. So let me walk you through the story of the Rise. So as mentioned by Slater, the Rise is situated at the base of Monterazzas. It is a residential subdivision in Cebu City. So, as presented later, the very first project brief was to design a typical vertical upright condominium with the goal of maximizing the number of units we could fit. However, looking at this very image, it seems very monumental and very massive. And it seems to stick out awkwardly in that location. So upon review with our development team, we have all concluded that this is not the direction that we want to partake for this project. Hence, we had to find ways as to lower down our monumental massing. So we explored options of lowering it down to 6 different towers, 8 stories in height, and even down to 9 different towers, 6 stories in height. However, all of these options pose the same concerns as to massive earthworks, big retaining walls, thereby disrupting the natural terrain, and not to mention the inefficient circulation issues. And luckily, our clients, Slater, are very receptive to our concerns and are very open to redefining the entire project brief. So now we're back to square one. And we tend to ask ourselves, what is the most suitable way to build structures on hillsides? So we looked into different hillside constructions in other countries, and we found out that they used a step construction method that conforms to its natural terrain. And to name a few, here are some of the examples. Here's Machu Picchu in Peru, Amalfi Coast in Italy, Santorini in Greece. Here's Manarola Cinque in Italy, and some of the Lake Como developments also in Italy. Italy has a very hilly terrain. And we also looked into our very own Philippines. And indeed, we found out that we have our very own step construction handmade by our ancestors centuries ago. This is such an engineering feat. And this was even considered as one of the wonders of the world. And looking at this very image myself sent chills down to my spine, as the profile of this very image resembles that of the terrace of the rice in Monterrazas. It somehow touched my heart that all the doubts on this type of approach seemed to disappear. This somehow solidified the vision that we want to pursue for the rice. So having been convinced by these two main ideas, first was the need to have big open spaces that was brought about by the pandemic. And second is our very big inspiration that we got from our very own Banawe rice terraces. These two main ideas paved the way to our big vision. The vision that is to create spaces that would blend with nature. This main vision also paved the way to the realization of our specific design objectives, namely, responding to site context by following our natural terrain, reconnecting with nature by providing indoor and outdoor area, big wide open spaces, so we are blurring the indoor and outdoor space, embracing lush greenery by providing that wide planting strip, we are bringing back nature into our development, and sustainability as part of our advocacy, and a touch of Filipino heritage. This is our tribute to our Filipino culture. So the birth of our vision also gave birth to the development name. The meaning of Monterazzas, Mont equals mountain, Terrazas means terraces, so it's mountain terraces. And from the word, the rice of Banawe rice terraces, the R-I-C-E, now becomes R-I-S-E, it's evoking a sense of upward movement towards an elevated lifestyle, which this development aims to offer. This is also a testament of man's resilience to rise above adversities brought about by our pandemic. So allow me to bring you to Lendel to share with you our design strategy.
Thank you. So I think I believe that Slater already mentioned some of it, but I want to simplify some of the things that he very well much understands. So imagine this. If you take instead of a tall, upright building, we took the whole structure and pushed it back to sit along the slopes of our natural terrain. With that, we were able to get a staircase-like structure. And with that staircase-like structure, we were able to introduce big, wide open spaces on top of every unit. So the next question now is, how do we access these types of configurations? Either we usually access them on the bottommost level or from the topmost level. But how do we access them in between levels? So for a typical high-rise building, we normally rely the use of vertical elevators to transport users to different floor levels. In our case, we cannot simply use a single vertical elevator. So we tried exploring options like breaking down the staircase structures into different parts, introducing multiple elevators. But with this approach, it's very inconvenient for the users as they will have to transfer from one elevator to another from time to time. Imagine if you're from the bottommost level, you go all the way up to the topmost, you have to transfer every now and then. So we even tried exploring the use of escalators, since escalators can already go diagonally. But again, it's even more inconvenient as the users has to transfer to another escalator every floor. So we explored the idea of using funiculars. Funiculars are like trains that travel on an inclined track. And it's very commonly used in other countries, like in Italy. But here, we also explore the use of inclined planes. Similar to funiculars, there are also inclined planes that are already attached to the structure, either using it indoor or outdoor. Here in our country, there is even an actual use of the inclined lift, and it's in Bellevue Hotel, Tagaytay. So we even went there to try out the inclined lift. Seeing it is believing, and experiencing it helps solidify our solution. But by using inclined lift, it will help with our inclined staircase structure to travel in between floors. So this is just a short video on how other inclined lifts are used in other countries. So there are so many uses and applications for this that it made us solve our solution for the inclined and staircasing structure. So now next, after we have solved our circulation issues, we went and proceed next to the our plan. So we tried to reconfigure the plans this time around. So like we are trying to explore options on how we can follow the natural terrain of our slope. So we explored several options. So we tried exploring how we are going to lay out and reconfigure the different units to follow our natural terrain. We tried like pan stacking options. We tried multi-level stacking. We tried bi-level stacking. There's even a split stacking and the maximized stacking. Among all the different configurations that we have, the maximized stacking is among the most efficient as it can accommodate more space and more number of units. At the same time, good circulation within the structure and all the units is facing to a spectacular view. Next would be how do we deal with light and ventilation. So we wanted to maximize this as well. If you take a section of the structure, one side is facing the view, and then the other side is sitting along the slope of the mountain. If by breaking the massing and introducing gaps in between the unit, we were able to bring in more natural light, more natural ventilation, even all the way up to the hallways. So by that, the next is we tried to combine all the different studies that we have, starting from the maximized stacking to the gaps in between them, the inclined lift, the big wide open spaces on top of every unit due to the staircasing structure. So this is what we have come up with for the overall idea. So from the lobby, you have direct access to the inclined lift. And from the inclined lift, that brings you to the different floor levels. You have access already to the hallways and corridors. And from the hallways to your indoor units and direct access to your outdoor units as well. So I would like to bring you back to Leizle to walk you through to one of the most exciting part.
So now, let's go to the fun part. It's time to spruce up our facade. So our design process has never been a straightforward path. We always had to try out options, explore different variations to see and to test which one fits best with our overall vision. So here are some of the facade studies that we had undergone. First is the rough ridges. This option came about because of our consideration on the ease of construction. So we initially thought that having a more linear approach would be much easier to construct. However, looking at it, it looks very edgy and very unnatural, which totally deviates from the overall vision. So we tried exploring by filleting its edges, but yet it still looks unnatural. Hence, we softened the edges a bit more. This option now looks slightly better than the previous options, but it still looks very regular and very monotonous. So the other option somehow feels short from our standards. So we tried exploring a more undulating version and alternating it at the same time. However, this option now looks a bit overdone and exaggerated. So we had to go back to the drawing board and carefully look at the features and the characteristics of our main inspiration. And we mapped out the contours of the rice terraces onto our sloping massing, and we are quite satisfied with its outcome. The final form of the facade was further brought into light by our constant collaboration with all our consultants. Namely, the marketing team kept on suggesting on making the sizes economical to make it more saleable. On the other hand, the structural engineers kept on toning the swirls and the overhangs for more practical reasons and economic reasons as well. So with the rest of the other consultants poured in their comments and all their suggestions were taken into consideration, which formed part of this final facade. So let's move on to the details. So having completed the facade is not enough, because equally as important as the facade is the attention that we put onto the details. If I were to make an analogy, the details can be likened to a supporting actor in a movie, wherein the movie will not be successful without the help of its supporting casts. So the details will bring about the overall refinement and enhancement of the character of our main vision. So here are the details that we tried to explore. Edge details. These are the different edge profile details that we have considered, and we tried mapping it into our massing. And this is the final edge profile that we all came to agree. Because this profile resembles that of an inverted terraces. And more so, this is further amplified that this is seen from a man's eye level below. And we even added a layer of detail by changing the tones of each swirls, thereby enhancing its overall terracing effect. And we tried mapping that terracing profile into our massing, and we are quite happy with its organic appeal. Next, we took into consideration the privacy in between units. So initially, our first approach was to design a typical rectangular boundary fence to divide the units. And then looking at this very image, you can see that it made the overall facade very segmented, which totally deviates from the natural vision that we wanted to achieve. So we tried exploring different boundary wall profiles, and this is the final profile that we all came to agree. By tapering the edge of that rectangular fence, we are able to make the entire facade very seamless and superfluous. And we even added a layer of detail by curving the termination in between materials. This is more of an economic approach, but at the same time, the curvature makes the overall facade very organic. Next, as mentioned by Slater, visual privacy study. So we want to take into consideration that the people standing on top will not be able to see the people below. So by adding a wide planting strip, we are able to limit that visual angle. And at the same time, these planting strips further enhances the vision of bringing in lush greenery for our chance to reconnect with nature. So in line with our advocacy for sustainability, here are our target key sustainable features that we want to incorporate for the rise. So expansive outdoor areas with integrated wide planting strips. We have rainwater and gray water recycling for irrigation on those planting strips. We have renewable energy integration and heat island mitigation. We adopted the use of solar panels and green roof system. We have sustainable transportation support. All our car parks are already electrical vehicle charging ready. And we have also provided bicycle facilities. And we are also promoting the health and well-being through the vast amenity and also this community engagement promotion by providing avenue for Filipino art and stakeholder engagement. And last but not the least, we have this integrated design approach advocacy by our constant collaboration with our consultants from the start. So this has been our journey for the rise. From the very first inspiration all the way to its realization of our design concept. It is filled with constant challenges, various iterations, critical decisions, each paved the way to its final outcome. It is the result of our constant collaboration with a dedicated team of professionals with one common goal: to rise as one. So allow me to share with you a compilation of our Thank you very much and good afternoon.
Gusto ko lang seeing it. No, looking back at their presentation, this is the first time I've seen it. Parang ang daming flashback throughout the years of all the changes and all the different column designs, the different pergola designs, overhang, structural considerations. Grabe, grabe. Okay, shall we open the... Ako na mag-host? Okay. So, we'll open the floor now for a few questions.
Hi, Slater. I'm Lemark. Thanks for the wonderful presentation. Here's my question. Were there any development controls provided by the National Building Code or any governing laws that you have to defy or you find obsolete or you were challenged with during the design process? And I have one more question. Were there any learnings that you would want to share with us when working with the government for such a grand development as the RISE at Monterazzas? Thank you.
Okay, working with the government. Always a challenge naman. joke. It's good though. I think everything is... mahirap naman talaga to comply with all the government requirements, from the ECC to the fire code to all of these things. But we also understand why it's there. So even though, ang tagal nga namin figure out yung fire situation eh. But even though that's the case, I think it's all for the safety of everybody and it's for the betterment naman talaga. Ano pala, we have a booth by the entrance. So if you want to see our a little bit smaller scale model, meron tayong booth sa first floor, no? First floor by the entrance. Yung light panel din namin, my product, shameless plug. Ano na lang din, visit na lang din.
My name is Sunny Rimaldora from Aklan chapter. My question is about the slope of the mountain. Have you considered the long-term effect to the structure about the movement of the soil or the earth that may affect the building?
Yes, syempre. Dapat naman. So we have, I think, 3 geologists on our team, geotechnical people. One of which is si Dr. Alan Butuyan, which we've tapped. He's a very good friend of mine. He does mga power plants, mga mining. So sanay na sanay siya. So for him, this is relatively easy. The slope here is about 20-something%. So hindi siya sobrang hirap talaga gawin. Even with the structural, I think we did all the table shake tests for the structural. So that was even considered. So soil boring, slip tests, nagawa na natin lahat yan.
Hello, good afternoon. I am architect Imlo Jean Demetrio from CDO Bay Area. So I just want to ask, because I'm interested on how you come up with the solutions on getting through the environmental impact of this kind of development in Cebu City.
Of course, compliance with the ECC, but meron tayong, as mentioned, Architect Monique, special mention, she's handling all the environmental impact studies. So BERDE, PhilGBC, so they're helping us with that also. So ang maganda sa BERDE, they cover not just the environmental impact, but the socio-economic impact and the impact to the community as well. Meron pa nga mga kailangan na may comply up to the level of women empowerment. So ganyan ka-comprehensive. That's why it's taking a while lang for us to finally get our star rating.
That's it. Thank you very much for your
Yes.
answer.
Pero according to Architect Monique, 5 stars na daw kami. Put
We're
on the spot.
buying for 5-star brother rating.
Hello. Maayong hapon, Slater.
Maayong hapon.
I'm from Cebu. We all know very well the flooding issues, right,
Yes.
in Cebu. I'm just curious with that, with the magnitude of development that you are undertaking, about how you proof flood the lower areas with that kind of setup. I'm more concerned about the lower areas, not your own development.
Of course. Yes. So, meron tayong mga tawag natin detention ponds. So sa engineering side, I think a lot of us are familiar with that intervention. So even with this one, the requirement, we've doubled that requirement. And not to mention yung rainwater tank below, which gathers the rainwater for irrigation, but doubles as that is the first part, and then we go move it to the detention pond. So all the engineering side, again, 3 years namin ginawa to, tapos shortcut namin yung engineering. Of course, sinama talaga natin sa study. We want to be able to inspire with this project. So inspire with Filipino architecture. We're an all-Filipino team. It's to inspire na kaya natin to. One of my angst lang konti is if this project, think of it as if this project, we launch this in Singapore, there won't be a lot of questions when it comes to matibay ba yan, et cetera. But bakit dito sa Pilipinas? Kini-question natin palagi. So I think understandably so. Understandably, we need to push that boundary. We need to push that innovation. And that's our role as designers, all of us here. So I think we're trying to play our part when it comes to this movement. Even my YouTube platform, I'm trying to push that when it comes to education, especially in our field.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's give a round of applause to our wonderful speakers, everyone. We'll proceed with our awarding of a Certificate of Appreciation. For our speakers, this Certificate of Appreciation is hereby presented to Slater Young, Leizle Go, and Lendel Go in recognition and gratitude for imparting valuable time and knowledge and expertise as resource speaker for our NatCon 49 Continuing Professional Development Program. Given this day, 19th of April 2024 at SMX Convention Center, Pasay City, Philippines, signed by our Convention Director Christian Vasquez and our National President Richard M. Garcia, FUAP.